Welcome back to the beautiful city of Guanajuato here in Mexico. We woke up pretty early to catch sunrise at one of the most beautiful viewpoints here in Guanajuato, but unfortunately it started raining, so we've quickly made it down. We're currently back in the city center, but man, that sunrise, it was a pretty cloudy day, so we didn't actually get to see the sunrise, but still a beautiful view of Guanajuato and just a stunning way to start off our day here in the city. Now, I'm not actually sure what we're gonna do today because the weather doesn't seem to be cooperating very much. So this might just be a day full of museums because of how bad the weather is. But hopefully things are gonna get better, and I'm gonna take you guys along for our adventures here in Guanajuato. If everything works out, should be a really fun and adventurous day. So let's go ahead and start exploring the city. Well, the interesting thing about today is that our first stop is actually not in the city of Guanajuato. We're gonna be leaving the city of Guanajuato to visit a place. We'll be back later in the day, but for now, let's go take a bus to get out of Guanajuato. Well, literally about a 15-minute bus ride out of Guanajuato, we've come to another town. This is the town of Valentiana. Now, the reason we're in Valentiana is because this entire area has a history of silver mining. Actually, the whole town of Guanajuato was built around silver mining, which is why you see that it's so haphazardly built. I mean, you have all these buildings just right on top of each other because it was just a sudden silver boom. So why we're here in Valentiana is because we want to see a silver mine. Apparently they have tours here that go on through the mine, so we're gonna see if we can find a mine, go inside and check it out. But we're actually not that far from Guanajuato itself. You can actually see the city of Guanajuato from where I am right now. So we're really not that far out. But this is an entire place with so much history of mining. So obviously we've got to go check out the mines.
Hola.
Buenos días.
Buenos días. Gracias.
¿De este lado?
Well, we've made it to the mine, and I think we are the first one here, so we're gonna go ahead and start exploring this museum. Yeah, let's go check it out.
Temperatura ambiente, ni frío ni calor, el clima muy sabroso. Vale.
We're about to enter the cave or the mine. We're going in 60 meters, which is insane. But this is absolutely incredible. We made it to the bottom of the 60 meters and we can't go any farther because down there is the tube where they extract the minerals, and basically we'd fall to our death if we went down there. But you can see the machines they use to mine. You can see how they use the technique to find silver and gold. And yeah, you can even see a statue of the guy who became really rich from coming here. But it's a really cool mine. And the temperature is amazing. It's super cool. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna head back up out of the mine. It's gonna be a long way up, so I'll see you guys on the outside. All right, so let's talk about this mine a little bit. This is like really cool to visit. You go down into the 60 meters, and as I mentioned, it's not really that far into the mine because if you go any farther, you're going to fall into the big tube. So the history behind this place is amazing. I mean, it used to be under the Spanish crown when Mexico was still a colony. They were mining it a lot. And then when Mexico gained independence, there were a lot of companies. There was even a cooperative that was formed, but because they ran out of money, the Canadians ended up buying the mines. So to this day, actually, these mines are still functioning, but they're run by Canadians. All the profits go offshore. They don't stay in Mexico, which is really sad. A lot of the tour guides at the museum, they're actually people who used to work at that Mexican company until it failed and ran out of money and was bought over by the Canadians. So it's really, really sad to see what has happened here. But the history, as the guide was saying, the history is something that they'll never take away from this place. The history of the mines and how important mining was to the entire area around Guanajuato. This is just one of many, many mines. There's literally a map here that shows all the different mines, all the different sort of levels of these mines. And they're all like, they're still producing. A lot of them are still producing silver and gold. They extract it and they go to San Luis Potosi where they're processed. But the fact that it's still being used today after, hundreds and hundreds of years is absolutely amazing. Of course, nowadays they have better technology. They can find gold and silver faster and in larger quantities. But back in the day, it wasn't that easy. It was definitely a lot more difficult. But yeah, it's an absolutely amazing guide. You should definitely come here and check it out. The history here is just really, really incredible. Now, the earlier mine we were at, that was the entrance to the Valenciana mine. But actually, the direct entrance to the Valenciana mine is the one right behind me. The one we went to originally was the first entrance into the Valenciana mine. This is the more modern industrial one, and inside they have a lot of things that you can check out. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, they're closed, but you can see from far away the huge chimneys and the industrial complex that they have within the museum, basically, to show you what the mining process is like. Unfortunately, we won't be able to visit it this time, but hopefully next time when we come back, that place will be open because it looks pretty cool inside, especially from the drone shots. Obviously, before we leave Valenciana, there's one more stop we've got to make, and it's right behind me. This is the Church of San Cayetano. The interesting thing about this church is that it was built over 300 years ago. It was finished in the 1700s. So it's a really, really old church. And it's dedicated to the guy who, made a fortune out of these mines, the mine that we just visited. What's interesting is that when you get into that mine, the 60-meter point, that point is exactly right below this temple. So we're here right now. Where we were maybe a few hours ago when we were underneath the mine is exactly 60 meters below ground right now. That is crazy that they built this church on top of the mines to commemorate the guy who became really, really rich off of it. I think he had a lot of money, so they just built the church with it. But they even have an entire area for him inside the church. It's a really nice church. It's a really small church. But obviously, after seeing so many churches and temples in Guanajuato, I'm kind of churched out. Okay, that's it for Valenciana. We're gonna get on the bus and we're gonna head back into Guanajuato. ¿Va a Guanajuato? Sí. ¿7, sí? After a fairly short bus ride, once again, welcome back to the center of Guanajuato. We are walking up a sort of pretty steep ramp I don't know if you guys can tell, but we're gonna go check out another museum here in Guanajuato. It's supposed to be one of the most important historical ones, so let's go see what it's all about.
Le entrego 100 con 5.
Muchas gracias.
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 De este lado, subiendo la escalera de la izquierda.
Ah, muchas gracias. Well, we've officially made it in. Welcome to the Alondiga Museum here in Guanajuato. To be honest, I didn't really know what I was going into when I went into the Alondiga Museum, but it exceeded all my expectations. I mean, first, let's talk about the murals. The murals in there are incredible. They're so beautiful. But then on top of that, the actual museum itself goes from all the way from like Mesoamerican Indian civilizations all the way to modern day Guanajuato. And they explained everything so well. They have a lot of artifacts. The mine that we went to today, they have a lot of artifacts from that mine actually in the museum. And the history of the Alhondiga is super interesting because it used to be this place where they stored grain and wheat because it was a major trading point, because they were basically trading silver down all the way into Mexico City. So it was sort of like a stopover point. But it was also one of the core areas of the Mexican Revolution. So there are a lot of exhibitions in there about the Mexican Revolution and Hidalgo and other leaders of the Mexican Revolution. And they actually have an entire memorial, which is really, really beautiful. But there's just so much history, and that museum really does a lot of justice to a lot of those time periods in Mexican history. Absolute must recommend. I did not even know that this museum was going to be that impressive. So if you're here in Guanajuato, definitely don't miss out on it. It's also just a beautiful building anyways, just to visit. So go and check it out. The museum is incredible. The history has so much to offer, and the murals, the artwork is really, really stunning in there. Now, no visit to Guanajuato is complete without a visit to this place right here. It's not really a place, it's a street, and it's called the Subterranean Street of Guanajuato. What's unique about this street is that because it's underground, you see all these old building faces with rocks and really, really old wood. I don't even know if anybody lives in these places because it's really, really old. But the subterranean street basically takes you around the city, and it's supposed to be underground, it's supposed to be dark, but we're gonna take a walk around and see what it's all about. Well, we finally made it out of the underground street, the subterranean street. I have to say, there's not really much to it. It's like nice in the beginning part when you have like a lot of old buildings, but once you really get into like the dark areas, it actually gets pretty scary and dangerous sometimes because those cars really whiz by fast, especially those like big trucks and buses and stuff. So not really anything special, I would say. It's just an underground street, but one of those attractions that you just gotta tick off the list when you're in Guanajuato. It's a nice place, it's free, it's cool for photos, but yeah, there's nothing really special about it. I would say probably an hour and you'll be good, but I'm not going down there anymore. It's too scary, it's too dark. Let's go to our next stop. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to be able to see the sunset today because it's super, super cloudy, but that's going to be okay. We're going to see the city of Guanajuato turn dark slowly. This right here is the Mirador de los Rayos. Now, what's interesting about this place is that it is a viewpoint, right? It's a beautiful viewpoint. You can see the city behind me, but it's also a mine. Now, the top part that we're at right now, it's like this castle-like thing, and it was a mine for many years, but if you actually look down, you can see that there's still a lot of people who are mining here now that are still extracting silver and gold here. So it's a place that is still very much alive. People are still, you know, doing what they've been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years here, obviously with newer technology. And the view is just incredible. I mean, you have the entire view of Guanajuato. What I love about this viewpoint here is that there's absolutely nobody here. If you went to Pipila, which is the other viewpoint that we were at, it will be absolutely filled with people. But here you've got historical little monuments. You've got like little sort of mining carts to teach you about history. You've got an amazing viewpoint. Nobody's here, and it's gonna be an excellent way to end the day. So we're gonna catch the sunset here, and I'll show you guys. Well, it's about an hour later and it's not completely dark yet, but there's a couple reasons I'm leaving. First, because it's about an hour-long walk back into the city. Second, because it's freezing and I am not prepared for the cold. And third, the clouds are sort of blocking the sun, so we can't really actually see the sunset. But it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, I would say that actually the viewpoint at Pipila is probably better, but the vibe, the ambiance here, the fact that most of the people here are locals who come to this viewpoint for just, you know, an afternoon walk, that's the difference you have here. Whereas Pipila is super touristy. It's super, you know, designed for the industry, for business, but here it's local, it's real, it's organic, which is exactly what I love. Today has just been an absolutely exceptional day here in Guanajuato. Unfortunately, it's our last day, but I mean, it was really an educational day, you know, going to the mines, going to the museum. It really shone light on what Guanajuato is, more than just some tourist city that people come to, and the history of the mines and the impact and the revolution and everything here. It's really interesting, and definitely if you come to Guanajuato, give that aspect of the city a try, because there's more to this city than just colorful walls and beautiful churches. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video here from Guanajuato. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos. Tomorrow, we're leaving Guanajuato, unfortunately, but we got a lot more adventures planned, and I can't wait to share it all with you guys in the upcoming videos. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.